Okay, so today we're going to use OpenCanvas to draw a Mr. Saturn, first of all. We'll maybe have some more time to draw something else, but let's see here first. So let's draw Mr. Saturn. So let's give him a nice dark outline. Start with a dark color, first of all. Something like this. And give him a nice big roundy nose, kind of like that. Almost like a semi-oval kind of shape. And give him a round body, almost a circle. Or a semicircle here. Give him a little bit of a foot. And bring his body in like that. And let's put another foot there. Kind of looks like he's walking in this picture that I'm drawing here. Not coming out great, I'll be honest, but you know, that's fine. A little circular eye. An eyebrow that's kind of like a rectangle with rounded edges, and a couple whiskers there. As well, let's give him a little hair coming off his head. And a bow. It's kind of like a Z shape and crossing and linking the two ends of the Z together. Now, I'm not crazy about how this turned out, so I'm going to erase that foot there. Erase a little bit of that line so we can get this rounded out a little better. And draw them in again. Up our pressure a little bit. Let's make his foot more like this time, and his other foot coming out like that. So his feet, you'll see, because it's on the other side of his body, it's coming out a little bit higher than his foot that's closer to the audience, if you will. Now, we've got a Mr. Saturn. What do we do with him? Well, let's color him, I say. So we will. So we're going to pick a color somewhere in this range here, between your red and your yellow. Somewhere in between, you're going to find some sort of flesh tone. So let's make it kind of bright. And let's work with the paintbrush this time, because it's kind of nice in OpenCanvas. But of course, you don't have to be using OpenCanvas. You can be using pretty much any other drawing software program. I'm using OpenCanvas today because it's free, basically. And, you know, it's free, that works for me kind of thing. So, drawing in the color. But you'll notice I messed up and drew the color in the same layer because I was drawing over my line. So let's make a new layer, and that won't happen. So let's make a new layer and color on this layer here. Let's pull it down to so it's beneath that layer, and let's do a little bit of painting on here. So with our painting kind of tool, we go in, we're coloring Mr. Saturn. He's got a nice fleshy kind of tone to him. Let's make that a little smaller so we can get to some of the smaller parts here, like his feet. And there we go. We have a Mr. Saturn colored in a nice beigey, peachy kind of skin tone. So that's fine and everything. But what we can do from here is give him a little bit of a shading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down here a little bit so it's almost a brownish color, light beige, I guess. And I'm going to actually pull that down a little bit more towards the bottom red here, because when you have shadows, and first of all we're going to have light coming in around this way, when you have shadows, they're getting closer to purple, just because of the way our eyes work, and so we're going to drag it essentially down towards the purple more, because it's closer here than going up all this way. Anyway, that's about how I kind of pick my colors, but it's not necessarily the only way for sure. If you're a starman.net person, you can definitely check out the work of a person called Piro. She does some excellent color work that's absolutely amazing to me. And yeah, her stuff is just stunning with some of the kind of abstract colors she'll pick. So what I did here is I shaded underneath the nose, because that's where the light's coming from up here, so we have the shadow underneath the nose. And we bring it up a little bit even onto his face to show that bit of an extra dimension to things. A little bit of shading on the back side of his body here, and his opposite foot, just to give you the hint that it's a little bit more in the background, we're going to make it even a little bit darker and shade it in pretty much entirely. And a little bit of darkness here, extra. Not that it's really needed, but gives you a little bit of extra hint of that 3D-ness. And that's more or less what we got there for highlighting, or for shading rather, but highlighting is what we're going to do now. We're going to do it with the eraser because it tends to be nice here in OpenCanvas to do that. And since your light is coming from up here, it's kind of shining off the top of his nose, something like that, as well as maybe off the top of his forehead, something like that. We still haven't colored in the bow, so let's do that. Make a nice small brush size here, and we're going to pick a different color, so something in the pinkish reddish range up here, nice bright pinkish. Let's put that in there. I'm coloring outside the lines a little bit, you'll see, but that's not a big deal. What we can do is come back with the eraser and just fix that up very simply. And just like that, and easy as pie. And we have a Mr. Saturn. Ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. So yeah, that's about it for Mr. Saturn. Pretty easy to do. Mr. Saturn, of course, is from the Super Nintendo game, EarthBound. So if you've never played EarthBound, 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 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Great game, and these cute little guys are in it. They're wonderful. Great game. It's a role-playing game set kind of in a modern-day setting, and you more or less play a little boy that is fighting off an alien invasion. And along the way you fight all kinds of crazy hippies, and animals, creatures, zombies. It's got everything, and you guys should totally check it out. I hope you liked this. I go by the name Ozwalled on starman.net. WALLED, and you can swing by and say hi sometime. Thanks very much for listening to this tutorial.